Hey everybody, good morning. We're going to keep on looking today at the interview database. This is kind of the part 2 video. We're actually going to get into kind of the heart of the database. If you look at our level 2 requirements, yesterday we set up the interview questions so we can display those, and we worked on the date picker so that we could record the date. But now what we really want the interview database to do is record data and then show it to us later when we click on a button. So today we're going to set up the functionality using a tiny database so we can record the user's name, the date, and the answers to the questions. And then we're going to learn how to retrieve that information later when we click a button. So let's take a look at our code right here, just kind of refresh our memory on what's going on. We have our initializing screen so that it pops up the first question. We got a couple of variables set up, including a list variable with all of our questions in there. And then we have this next question.click right here. And this one is what brings up the next question. And this goes through, and if we haven't gone through all of the questions, if we haven't gone through the entire length of the list, then we keep cycling through, adding one to the index variable, which of course references our question number. Then we go back and then otherwise we reset, we start from the beginning. So what we want to do is put in a record function right here in between adding one to the global index and setting the interviewee's answer.text to blank, right? So before we set the text to blank, we better record what they're actually saying. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull from the TinyDB, and we are going to store a value right here. Okay, and we're actually going to store a lot of stuff. And the tag that we're going to use, we want to store it we're going to use the interviewee's name, and we're going to use the index variable. So we're going to be doing a lot of connecticating strings, which means basically joining them. Actually, let's copy and paste that because we're going to need that again. We're going to need a lot of these actually. So the tag, we're going to store the answer, the sort of the reference for the answer, the tag for the answer, the name of the answer. We're going to join the interviewee's name. So let's say interviewee's name.enabled. No, interviewee's name.text. We're going to join that with the index variable that we're on, so that each answer will have its own specific tag value. Each question answer will have its own specific tag value. And then what are we going to store? We're going to want to store a lot of things. We're going to want to store, again, the name. We're going to want to store the date. We're going to want to store the question number and the answer to the question. So that's a lot of things. So we're going to need at least 4 strings in there. String. Okay, good. So we're going to want 4 things in there. What did we say that was going to be? That's going to be the name, the date, the question number, and then their answer to the question. So let's see. So here, let's copy our date picker thing right here, and let's put that in here, Control V, and then we'll drag up our new one. So this is our formatted date. This is formatted properly. Then we will grab our interviewee's name. Let's get that again. We'll plug that in. Then we will get our index. So we'll get our index variable so that we know which question number it was. And now finally, we will get our interviewee's answer.text. There we go. So now this is going to store in our tiny database. It's going to join together the date right here, their name, the index question number that we're on, and the interviewee's answer.text, right? And it's going to store that under a tag so that we can find it later of the interviewee's name and the index variable. Okay, perfect. So there is our setup to store all of our questions. Now, this is cool. Actually, we can delete this date picker dot after date text. Actually, you know what? Maybe we should hang on to it. just in case we need it here. I'm not sure if we delete it here. I wonder if it will delete there. I don't want to test it during the video. You could probably test it, and it might be possible to just delete this entire block already. All right, so now we have that. It should be storing the value. Now we need to figure out how to retrieve it. So what we're going to do, and this is actually available in the PDF, this code right here that I'm about to plug in. Oops, sorry, that's the wrong thing. Right here, the interview database. This is available in here. More online. Let's see. Where is it? Right here. This code is basically what we're going to be plugging in. I'm going to see if I can just do it without looking at that. We'll see. So when we want to retrieve the dates, when the retrieve database list is clicked. So when we click the retrieve button, we're going to grab that. And what are we going to do? Okay, we're going to do a lot of things. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to initialize a bunch of local variables. So we want, I believe, 3 variables in there. We are going to, the first one is going to be called all tags, and we're going to initialize that to our database. So let's see, where's our database? Tiny database 1, and we want to get all the tags. So all the tags, we're just going to call db1 and get tags, right? So we're going to have a variable coming from our tags. Remember, our tags are the interviewee's name and the index variable. Okay, then our next variable is going to be called store list. So the store list is where we're going to put all the information after we pull it out of the database. And we're going to create an empty list right here for that, and we're going to fill it up later. And then the last variable is count. We've used count many a time in our variables, and we're just going to set that to 0. Okay, so now this, we want to put this in something, and I believe we're going to use a for list right here. And we're going to use the for each item in list. All right, so here's our list, and our list is going to be the variable all tags. And now why am I not seeing this? Oh, okay, here we go. All tags, there we go. All right, so all tags right here is the list that we're going to go through. Okay, let's see. Let me make sure. I just want to be sure that this, okay. Get all tags, perfect. Okay, so now for each item in the list, okay, what are we going to do? We are going to add items to the list. So for each tag, what are we going to do? We're going to fill up the list store list, right? So we want to specify which list, and that is the store list. Plug it in, and then we can get store list. So we're going to fill up store list. And what do we want to put in there? We want to join together. So we're going to use another connecticate, and we want to join up. We want to call, so we're going to join a blank string right here, and we're going to call the database 1. Now this should have all of our information in there. Call database 1 and get value. So for each, the tag is going to be, what is the tag going to be? So let's see. We want to pull each tag. Can we pull something from here for each item in the list? I can't remember what this one is. Let's see here. Probably should have just left that page up. All right, so tag, is get item. I was right, okay. So how do we get that item here? Oh, maybe we can get it from variables. Let's see if we can get it from here. Get item, right? So each item comes from the store list. For each item right here. So for each tag becomes an item. Then we get that item right here. And then the value, if tag isn't there, is going to be error or sorry, something like that. And that should be about it. So now we've retrieved all of the values from the list and, using their tags. The only thing that we haven't done is set them up and decided where to place them. So we're going to just use our view questions right here, .elements, and we're just going to need to set that equal to store list. Let's see. So we want to put that outside of our do loop, right? And that makes sense. Okay, so inside of our local variable, but outside of our do loop because we only want to do it once. We don't want to do it every time. So let's see. We are going to set list view one. I believe list view one, I never renamed it. You would probably want to rename it to answers or something like that. So we're going to set it outside of our do loop .elements, and we want to set that to, and we want to set that to get store list. And so this is our list that we created that has all of our answers. We're setting our list view elements to that one. And then we're just going to set count to count plus 1. And then we'll grab our math. Now, one thing that's a little bit mysterious to me is what the count variable's purpose is in this one. I don't really understand why we need a count variable. It doesn't seem like the count actually calls to anything. Count plus 1. So I'm not sure why we have it in here. If anyone knows and could let me know by posting in the comments or something like that, that would be great. But that's what it says to do, so I don't want to mess with it. I don't want to make it worried or anything like that. So we will have the count right there, add 1 to the count. Okay, so this should retrieve it. Go ahead and try that out, see if it works. We can troubleshoot if we need to in class. And the last thing is just to give you guys a couple hints on what you need to do for the level 3 and 4 work, which is clearing the database. So you have right here a button that you can click to reset the database. And then you also have a notifier right here. Make sure you use your after choosing right there and call the notifier. We've used notifiers before, so you can review some old codes. You can ask me for help if you need that. To just make sure you alert your user, like, hey, we're going to erase everything. Are you sure that's what you want to do? You don't want to just erase something when somebody misclicks. And then finally, for the speech to text, we have the speech recognizer right here. You can call that. You can get the results. You can say after getting text, what do you do? So just try to do that. You can also look through. There's resources. The PDF will help you. There's some other resources around that can offer some suggestions on what to do there. Okay, so that's it. That's how you store and recall information using a tiny database and your list values. I know this is pretty complicated. We'll probably do another program or two on this, so we'll get a little bit more familiarity with it. Good luck and thank you for watching.